Everybody has watched, I believe at least should watch, The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, The Golden Bachelor and Bachelorette, and we have Jordan Heller here with us. You made it, to the 6th week?
I made it to the Final Four.
Final Four.
Is that the 6th week? Yeah, I was there a total of like 5.5 weeks.
So you're from River Woods.
So I'm from Skokie.
Okay.
So I grew up in Skokie, moved from, when I got married, went to Buffalo Grove, and then River Woods, and now the city.
Okay.
So when the show contacted me, I was already downtown.
So how did they contact you? What was that process like? Where did they find you?
So it's bizarre. So my daughters we used to watch the show. I have 3 daughters.
Okay.
And I know my job was kind of making fun of watching the show while they were like, "Dad, we love this." And then after one episode in 2020, a couple of my daughters, unbeknownst to me, there was like if you know someone age 60, whatever, and I wasn't 60 yet, but they took a few Instagram pictures and a short paragraph and put it in. And then 4 years later, the show contacted me.
Wow.
And they called me last January, 2024. And I'm like, I'm not picking up a phone call from LA that I don't know. Like, what is that? So they called a couple days in a row. And then they texted me, said, "We're from the Golden Bachelor, we're trying to get a hold of you." And I was like, so I sent to my kids, we communicate in the group chat, they go, "Why don't you guys sign me up for something?" And they're like, "Yeah, but it was like 4 years ago." So then once I found out that it was real, I'm like, I'll play along, I'll go through the process.
What were your initial thoughts? Were you excited about it? Were you dating at the time?
I wasn't really dating at the time, so I'm always up for the adventure and an experience, so why not? I mean, you don't think you're going to get picked. So my initial response was, yeah, I'll go through it. But you don't really think you're ever going to get chosen for something like that.
So you were chosen. What was it like watching this woman that you're hoping that you end up with go through all of these dates? Because sometimes those dates get a little hot and steamy and you're like, man, are we starting at first base? Where are we going with this? And then you're in that mix too. Did you really have emotions watching that play out?
Well, so you don't see the dates
until after the fact.
You don't see it till after the fact. So we didn't know. So when you're in it, when we were there, my season, we were all about almost kind of like the guys. So we were, even though we were all competing for the same woman, they'd come back from me like, "How'd it go? Did you kiss her?" We were all like in for each other, legitimately in for each other. So which was great, and it was very real. So there wasn't a lot of competition until the very end between the guys. We were all honestly team guys.
Got it.
So you talked about your relationship with the other contestants. What would you guys do back after the dates and stuff when the cameras are turned off?
Yeah, so there's at the Bachelor Mansion, there's the pool, and behind the pool there's a big circle couch or a big U couch, and that was like the nightly spot where people would go. You can get cocktails, and we would kind of talk about the day, talk about each other. But it really was like a therapy session. We would talk about our relationships, our past relationships, our relationships with our kids, and we did a lot of laughing, and that was kind of where all the friendships were formed, and just kind of that was the essence of the show for us.
I know when I watch these shows, a lot of times the people that don't get picked, they blow up on social media because everybody's like, "Well, I'll take him. I liked him.
Yeah.
I like what he was about." What happened after the show for you? Did you have this influx of women coming out of the woodwork?
Yes, I did. So it's a little overwhelming. So you have I think I had like 10,000 followers from the show, from like 600 to 10,000. But 9,000 of those were women thinking, well, if you're still single, Jordan. And it honestly is overwhelming. It's too much because at first you start answering them, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm not trying to look. I'm just like trying to be nice."
Yeah.
And then I felt like if I looked at a message, like, "Oh, they see I saw it. I have to answer it now." So then I was like, I can't even look at them because it's just too much. It becomes overwhelming. But it was flattering. It was fun. It throws off your sense of reality a bit because it's like, me? What are you talking about? It's crazy.
So for those 9,000 women that were reaching out to you, what are you looking for in a woman?
Or are you dating?
So I am dating. So I did find someone in the real world, in the wild, in late last fall. So I am seeing someone now. So it just happened to, it kind of came through the show, but on the kind of the backside of it. But Yeah, so it was good. So it's happy. It's fun. It's going along well.
Okay, I'm listening. You said it came through the show. So did it come by way of direct message on?
No. I just happened to be invited to something, and I met someone at an event. That's all. So
Okay.
that's what came through.
How has your life changed since being on the show? Are you going to more events? Are you getting these partnerships and sponsorships? How's life changed?
So all of those things. So it's been great. There's been really, I'm only a tiny bit of downside, but so you get invited to a lot of things, which is really fun. Some parties, sporting events, movie events, and things in LA, which is, it's completely from Chicago guy, get to be thrown out there and get thrown into some big parties. It's great. And then I have had some brand deals. I did a little modeling. I mean, who would have, in a million years, I'm going to think a giant old person like me would be a model. But I mean, it's fun. It's been really fun. And the best part, I think, has been the friendships with the guys. So we're really close.
I don't know how old you are, but you did say they look for someone 60 and up. So I'm guessing you're at least 60 now. You don't look 60. She said, how has your life changed? What were you doing before this? What has been your career, and are you still doing that career?
So I was in sales. I was a business development for a company when I went on the show. It didn't last after the show because when I went on, I wasn't really thinking I'm going to stay. You have to be there 6 weeks. I wasn't really thinking I'm going to stay the whole time. Wasn't trying to win necessarily. So my job was like, well, it's a long time to be gone, 6 weeks. I'm in sales, I have a territory. And I was like, 2 weeks. I mean, let me get the experience that I'm looking for, and that's enough. But when you're there, you can't leave. You can't leave.
And your job was like, bye
my job
Jordan.
I came back, and they were all. They actually didn't talk to me. I went to a sales meeting after I came back, and I'm like, it was really weird. It was a Zoom meeting, and no one mentioned that I was gone. No one mentioned. It was really, really strange. So
you were gone for 6 weeks. I'm sure your daughters were watching every single episode. What were their thoughts? Were they happy with the way you played the game? Yeah.
So my daughters got me involved in this. I would not have done it without the full support of my girls. We're really close, and we had watch parties every. The big thing they were concerned about is me. I tend to be a little silly, and a little smart ass, and then. So they're like, Dad, please don't say anything to embarrass us or embarrass yourself. So they were super supportive. We had watch parties. They had a great time with it. They were their friends and the extension of all of it. It was really fun.
Did you see yourself back and thought for a second, I would have done that differently? Did you ever have that moment on the show? What was it? What was it that you would have done differently? There are a bunch of different parts where they want you to be, you really kind of want to break down those emotional walls. And I was resistant a little bit to do some of that. I mean, some of it is good, and you don't know where the line is, so for everyone it's different. Now I see I could probably been a little bit more vulnerable than I was. I've probably been a little bit more open. I was fighting that a little bit. I was more trying to portray like who I was as my character and just have fun with it. And they're pushing a little bit more of the emotional side and the love side of things. I'm not quite that serious, so I was more trying to have some fun with it.
Was it hard knowing that there were so many cameras around and every interaction was being recorded?
Yeah, especially because of my skin. I'm like, oh my God, my skin's gonna look terrible. And it's hot, you're sweating, there's no makeup or anything. So, all the angles are not flattering in that show. And it's honestly, it's tough to watch yourself. I mean, maybe you guys understand that.
No, I get it.
Yeah, it's very tough to watch myself. I was like, oh my God, it's horrifying.
Did you go back and watch all the episodes?
So yeah, I watched them all. I've not actually gone back and watched them all because for that very reason. I let them just be how they are. I mean, I'll come back to them again, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would think at some point you would want to, probably like maybe 15 years from now, you'd be like, look at my younger self.
Yeah, my younger self, right.
Yeah, let me ask you something. What is something that happens behind the scenes that maybe, you can give us a little tidbit that nobody would know?
I don't know that I'm supposed to say that kind of stuff.
Is it something?
Something, well, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes because you're filming. You're filming.
You said
fun.
you look. Your skin. Look at that guy.
Oh,
yeah.
That's really nice.
That's a Golden Bachelor right there.
There's just a lot that goes on because they're filming for 5 days or something like that before, for every rose ceremony, and then we don't know what they're going to show either. So it was a little nerve-wracking because they've taken 5 days of filming and they're going to cut it into an hour or 2 hours. So it's a little nerve-wracking for sure.
What would you say was your favorite moment on the show? Was there a certain situation that you were in that you had a blast at?
Yeah, well, we had a one-on-one. My one-on-one with Joan, we went ice skating, and if you watched it all, I like to think of myself as a pretty good athlete, but I never ice skated in my whole life.
You were not.
So
good.
I cannot. And when you get the date card, it's a little bit of a riddle. They're like, and my riddle was, I want a love that melts my heart, something like that. I think that's what it was.
Something to that effect.
Yeah, and I was like, well, it's, maybe we're doing like wax, melting or something. I go, just as long as it's not ice skating. And of course,
And it was
ice skating.
So the one thing I can't do is ice skate.
But did they ask you that? Because
No.
they never asked you anything about that to kind of like stir the pot.
Yeah, no. Joan in fact said that, she goes, you're like an athletic guy from Chicago. I figured you know how to ice skate. I'm like, you would have figured. But my mother back in the day is like, it's too cold to go out ice skating.
So what was your first impression of Joan?
So the first time you see her, you're driving up the driveway in the limo, and it's so surreal. There's cameras, and it's like she looks like like a 1,000-foot tall movie star. Yeah, Cinderella, gorgeous. And then your heart starts racing, and she was amazing. She was articulate and poised and relaxed and charming. And I was just I was a mess when I came out of the limo. They did a good job editing my entrance, but I honestly was a mess. I thought I'd blown it entirely at that point. So I didn't know what to say.
I got to ask you this, because I always go a little left with her interviews. What was it like 6 weeks with no real female?
Yeah.
If you've been in the wild, as you said, not me, you're used to hugging up on somebody at night or having a little, interesting conversation at night. What was that like, 6 weeks with a whole bunch of guys?
Yeah, well, first the guys were great, and then when you leave,
you can't hug the guys.
No, we can't hug the guys. But so when you go back out, when you're finally released from the world, it's
a wild
it's
time.
a shake. It just takes an adjustment because you don't you have no phone, you have no internet, you have no TV, you have nothing, and then you get kind of used to that, and then they throw you back in the world, and you didn't tell anyone. Nobody other than a few people knew where I was gone. So you have messages and you have emails and like, where have you been? And it's just really overwhelming. So it takes a few weeks to kind of get your feet back again because you're just like, what's happening? In the world.
Wow.
So after your entire experience on this, would you do another show? I know you're dating right now, so it's probably not going to be a Bachelor show, but would you do another?
Yeah,
another
no,
show?
absolutely. That chance to kind of change your life and get peek behind the scenes, and it was so fun. I mean, everyone there was fantastic. I love the experience. I would love to, if anyone's watching, give me a travel show, a food and wine show, a sports show, something. Yeah, I would love it. I thought it was, I wish I had tried delving in that a little earlier in life, but it was fantastic.
Have you been poached to do anything else, and you were like, no, I don't want to do that?
Well, I could have been on like this Bachelor in Paradise, but
Okay.
I have a girlfriend. That was my new job wasn't crazy about the idea of being gone also. So
yeah. So you wouldn't be one of those people because there was a reality show, and we talked about this on this show. There was a reality show that this guy went on. He claimed, he was single, he had no kids, and then boom, it turns out he's not single. It turns out he does have kids. You wouldn't play that role to have.
No, I
something
wouldn't.
else.
I mean, I would love to have been on the show, but I wouldn't have. It would have been disingenuous just for me to go to the. It would have turned out bad for me for sure.
Because it would have been revealed.
It would have been revealed. I mean, the internet knows everything, right?
Yes, they do.
I couldn't have got away with that for too long.
So you clearly went on this show for love and romance. What romantic tips would you give someone your daughter's age?
Yeah, so I always think like authenticity is the biggest thing. So be authentic, be genuine. Don't be a game player. I think I can kind of read through some of that right away from people. Just be who you are. I think letting your guard down and being vulnerable is the best advice I can offer to anybody. And then don't take things too seriously. I don't take things too seriously. I don't really get offended that easily. Just roll with the punches. That's my advice.
What would you say to someone that wants to, maybe they've been poached by reality TV and they're hesitant? Because it sounds like initially you were a little hesitant about, do I want to put myself out there? Do I want to do this? What would you say to someone now that you've gone through it?
Well, I think there's two things. So one is you don't know what comes out. Some people get kind of crucified, even they didn't do anything wrong on the show. So I was glad that didn't happen to me. They didn't really show my personality on the show. They went with a more serious tone. But because I had a lot of people, women specifically, asking me, hey, I'd like to go on the Golden Bachelor. What do you think? Would you do it? And I said, everyone, absolutely do it. At the very least, go through the process. I mean, it's an experience that you can, how many people are going to get this experience in your life?
True.
Try it. Go for it. I mean, that would be my experience. Why not?
So what qualities do you think the show really liked about you to cast you on it?
That's a good question. So,
The way he looks.
you go through a
The
lot
way
of
he
Right, you're
what'd you say?
clearly handsome. You're clearly
way he
handsome.
I mean, shucks, you guys, stop it. No, I think maybe they like my authenticity. I think the first interview, they're telling you what happened in your life, what happened in your marriage, and I just was honest with them, in a way. And I spoke about, this came up later in one of the interviews. They asked me about my relationship with my daughters, and I spoke about my daughters to the interviewers, and afterwards they said, your whole demeanor changed about your relationship with your daughters and how important that was to you, and we really liked what we saw. But still, you don't really know till almost to the filming date that that they're including you. So I don't know. They like something. I'm glad. Whatever it is, I don't know what it is. There's an X factor involved in everything, right? So
I think you're very personable. Just sitting here talking to you, I don't feel like there's any put-ons. What you see is what you get.
Thank you. That's what I try to portray.
I was going to ask you in terms of editing, because that's one of, I think, the most critiqued things in reality TV is when someone's on, they feel like maybe they edited what they said or how that conversation played out. Did you think some of the editing could have been different the way that you were portrayed?
Well, yeah, I think the show went for a serious tone on my side. We had a lot of fun. In particular, I was constantly messing with the guys. That's just my personality, messing with the guys. And a lot of it was really fun and funny, and I was hoping to see some of it on some of the shows, but it really didn't show up. So I would have liked to have seen, because people said, oh, you were my favorite one. I'm like, how? I didn't do anything to be your favorite. So, but I did, they just didn't show it. So I think, they have an idea after it's filming, then they cut how they want to portray the season. And I don't think they even know how they're going to do that till it ends. And yeah, I would have liked to have seen more Jordan, more fun Jordan, but it was okay for me.
Were you a big reality show watcher before this?
Not a big reality show, but I did watch, like with my girls, it was a weekly thing for us to watch the Bachelor, the Bachelorette. That's really probably all of it.
Did
maybe.
anything sway you from like acting a certain way from what you've seen on other reality shows?
Well, you have a little, a little sense of trying to be, not give away too much, like just cry my eyes out or something. I don't want to give away the everything right away. Dig it out of me a little bit. So yeah, I was a little bit hesitant to fully open up, just because. It's still scary. It's a little bit scary. Now I have a little bit better understanding of how the whole thing works, and next time I'll be better if it comes to that.
Last question. Are
Yes.
your DMs still blowing up, and where can people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram, Jordan K. Heller, and then I also just started a little social pickleball club in Chicago called Third Shot Social. So anyone wants to play pickleball with me, I'm still pretty active, and I play beach volleyball and all of that. And my DMs, that's what you asked me about. So there are some very persistent people out there. There are. I'll say that. Definitely persistent people out there. But that's good. So because I interact with them as well. They're nice people. They're not. It's nothing, crazy.
So if they hit you up, just know it's all about pickleball. No other activities.
Yeah.
Pickleball, that is it.
Just
taken.
Beach volleyball, pickleball,
Yes.
have some fun in Chicago. I'm a Chicago guy. I love the city. So I partake in all the, festivals, music, dining. I love it all.
It's been great having you on.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you guys have been fantastic.
I can't wait to see
We're going to
what
win
you
that
do
Emmy
next.
together.
Yeah, let's win it together.
Win this Emmy.